We are surrounded on all sides, above and below, within and without, by love, protection, divinity, and magic. The circle is cast, and so it is.
Hello. My name is Chelb. My pronouns are they, them, and this is Phasecraft Collective, your weekly check-in with the tarot to get the vibes, to see what energy is available for the week to come. We're only doing audio this week, folks, because I simply cannot bring myself to be perceived today. It's just not going to happen. I need to stay anonymous today, as if that's possible for someone who posts so much on the internet. But we're just going to lean in to focusing on what we hear, which honestly can be a lesson in mindfulness. Anymore, I have such a hard time just simply listening to things. If there's not an audio or if there's not a visual that accompanies the audio, if I can't be doing something with my hands, or maybe if I am doing something with my hands, it's way too easy for me to be able to totally zone out or totally tune out and not fully listen to what I'm hearing. So, yeah, we'll just say that this is an intentional practice of staying present without or with minimal stimulus, if you will. It's a big week, though. There's a lot of energy coming in. We've got the summer solstice on Friday and also the shift into Cancer season, which is quite the exploration of energy. Cancer we usually think about as quite gentle, quite soft, very much in touch with emotions, right? But they're also fierce protectors and deep carers of community and those that they love. And so with the summer solstice and Cancer season happening on the same day or starting on the same day, there's a real opportunity to lean into elevating community power and leaning into how we ourselves balance and show up in group spaces. There's an opportunity potentially to see beyond what is currently being experienced and into what is possible, into what can be changed with effort and with the leading of our emotions, the leading of our hearts, or by gazing deep into, the void of our subconscious, by allowing the light of the moon to shine on what we desire, on what we feel. And again, just lean in to that. How many times have I said lean in so far in these 3 minutes? Too many. So that's great and fun. If you yourself would like some help, some guidance, navigating those deeper realms of your intuition, your subconscious, I have a few things coming up to help you. First and foremost, you can always get a personal reading. These collective readings are great, but they are exactly that. They're collective. We're tapping into the energy of all of us versus something more honed and specific to you. A lot of it probably resonates with you, but we can get a lot more detailed if we're looking at just your energy specifically. And I rarely point this out, but my written email readings, the 4-card option is sliding scale. So you can choose a price between $30 and $45 and get a tarot reading for as little as $30. So that's great. But I also have, all of my different written readings, all of my live one-on-one readings over Zoom. So there's lots of opportunities. My books are wide open for June and for July. There's just, a lot of stuff going on outside. So the people tend to do less internal Zoom experiences in the summer, and that's great and fine, but it does mean that I have plenty of availability. So if you've been wanting to get in with me, now is a great time to do it. Additionally, in July, I have my summer class series. So if you want to learn more about getting into your intuitive exploration yourself, the summer class series kind of shows you the basics of witchcraft, of tarot. My Tarot 101 class is on July 17th. I have a class about working with deities, which you do not have to believe in deities, as in like beings in the sky influencing our everyday lives in order to work with them. You can work with them as energies, as archetypes. And then on July 31st, which is technically the day before, but we have our Lughnasadh spell circle. So that will be a little bit of information about Lughnasadh, where it comes from, what it means, and then we'll do a spell together to ignite our abundance and initiate a fruitful harvest season for coming into autumn. So all of that is happening, and it's exciting, and I really, really love these classes. They're some of my favorite ones to teach, but I mean, I say that about all of my classes because it's true. It's just so fun to be in community with people, even though it's online and it's not in real, physical space. Because spirit, because energy is so expansive, we can still very easily, connect. That's why I like doing things on the internet, because it just allows you to reach and connect with people that you maybe never would have before. And what happens in my classes a lot is people tend to interact and meet each other. And when you're, in my Patreon and you're in the Discord, you get to meet people from all over the place who have similar interests and are on similar journeys in their witchcraft practice. So that's all to say, come join a class. Yes, come join my Patreon. We are still doing the Month of Magic challenge. So if you join at $3 or more, you automatically, get access to all the prompts for Month of Magic. We are about to start week 3. I just published the prompts for this week, but you can jump in at any time and you can go back and look at these prompts literally any time for inspiration of how to make every day of your life a little bit more magical. Anyway, enough about that. Let's get to the cards. Let's get to the reading. So before we begin, let's just take a few moments to breathe, to ground, to center together. And just like last time, we're going to keep it a little bit more simple. If you'd like, you can join me in closing your eyes, or just let your gaze land somewhere out in space and soften. Bring one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly, or maybe both hands to your heart. And just take a few deep breaths here. Feeling through the palms of your hands the way your physical being responds to your breath. And let this breath, this feeling, ground you as I call in the elements here. And instead of envisioning them arriving and forming around you, as I name each one, feel their presence within you. Because we all carry each element within us. And so as I name them, see what parts of your body, what parts of your mind ignite. See where you feel their arrival in your physical form. I call to the spirits and guardians of the north, of earth, of the deepest roots and the tallest trees, of the stardust that gave shape to our bodies and to this planet. Hail and welcome. I call to the spirits and guardians of the east, of air, of wind and breath, of thought and change. Hail and welcome. I call to the spirits and guardians of the south, of fire, of the life-giving sun, the powers of creation and destruction, cleansing and renewal. Hail and welcome. And I call to the spirits and guardians of the west, of water, of the oceans and our blood, the rivers and our sweat, the rain and our tears. Hail and welcome. We are surrounded on all sides, above and below, within and without, by love, protection, divinity, and magic. The circle is cast, and so it is. Amazing. All right. Let's see what the cards have to say for us this week. The collective energy is quite interesting at the moment. There's obviously, as always, a lot going on in the world. 7 of Wands right out the gate here. And that's exactly it. There's this like tug and pull, this push and pull, this, dissonance or tension between fighting for the self and fighting for the collective. It's almost like we're so concerned with the appearance of how we present ourselves, of how we look with what we care for, that we're kind of losing sight of how we actually feel. And whether or not what we are saying, what we are doing, is actually pushing forward the fight, the message that we want to see. Yes, 7 of Wands, the World, the Queen of Wands, and the 10 of Pentacles. This is the unification of the personal and the interpersonal, the micro and the macro. How you show up and how you decide to move through this moment of transition, because it is in fact a moment of transition, and I know we can all feel it, is going to have lasting impact on both you and the world around you. The Queen of Wands really asks you why you care so much about how you are perceived, which is so funny as I decided not to do video today since I don't want to be perceived, LOL. But why you care so much about what your actions look like versus what they feel like to you. Do they feel aligned? Do they feel in service of your personal purpose and the purpose that you serve in collective? That 10 of Pentacles is really reminding us, and then we just got Judgment out too. The 10 of Pentacles is really reminding us that every action we take has lasting impact, whether or not we see it or not. It also reminds us that we won't see the impacts of all of our actions, but that does not mean they are not worth doing. The Chariot is following us here. Feel the tension of feeling powerful and powerless at the same time. Powerful in some things, powerless in others. Hold that tension, but instead of allowing it to keep you stagnant, see what actions you can really take to move things forward anyway. As I mentioned, with the World, this is transition, but it is also that macro lens of taking yourself out of yourself and looking around and seeing how everything you do has that ripple effect. For better or for worse. And it also asks you to look at, I'm going to bring Judgment because Judgment just came out. We're also being asked to look at how we actually genuinely feel and whether or not we are, asserting any sort of value or action or opinion for ourselves, or again, for the optics of it, for what it looks like, for how we want to be seen. We want to be seen as good. We want to be seen as right. So before you speak, take a second and think. Do you actually need to? Is speaking on this something that actually aligns with who you are and the message, the purpose, the path that you need to walk in this world, in this life? Or are you simply jumping into something because it is the thing these days to have an opinion on everything? Judgment also asks you to look at how the actions that you've taken, again, we're talking about these ripple effects, how these actions that you've taken have been harmful in the past or in the very recent past or the present. And what are you willing to change? What are you willing to shift so that the direction of your energy can also change, can also shift? The Chariot. The Chariot, the Seven of Pentacles, and then the Five of Swords. Dedication and focus can often lead, again, it almost always leads to lasting impact, to truly building and sustaining the thing that we want to create. And at the same time, we can get to a point of obsession with how we are thinking about it. If your thoughts feel clouded, if your thoughts feel muddled, or if you feel like you are single-minded, take a step back. Move out to that macro lens. See what you might be missing and see where you can create space in your mind to calm, to soothe, to move towards more gentle and intentional action. Because the Chariot is very powerful, right? It's intense momentum, and it is a good sign that like we're on the right path, especially with the Seven of Pentacles being there to follow, to say like, yes, like your focus on whatever it is that you're creating, that you're building is good, and don't let it overcome your whole mind. Don't let it bleed into other things so that you start to lose sight. Five of Cups, Four of Wands, so that all the good that you do ends up causing you more emotional pain than satisfaction. Find the way to make your actions sustainable so that they can last. Find balance within your passion. Find balance within your action. Don't try to do too much, but don't get by with just enough. Seek out the routines, the stability, the structures that can give where your heart is guiding you a little bit of containment, not to be restricting, but to, again, be guiding. To guide where all that fire goes so that it doesn't burn you out. Six of Swords. Finding, again, like both in the material world and in your mental processes, creating a way to organize the thoughts, organize the communication, organize everything that comes out of your mind, of your mouth, that lets things be a little calmer. Lets things bob and weave a little bit easier, a little bit slower, so that you can react accordingly. I'm just going to see if there's anything else to be said. The Hierophant, yes. Structure, tradition. The Hierophant, the Two of Pentacles, the Sun. The Sun is like, hello, it's the summer solstice. So the Two of Pentacles, the Hierophant, again, structures and traditions. Look for the things that have worked in the past, or look for the knowledge from people who have been through what you are going through right now. It's not a bad time to invite student energy into yourself, to dedicate time every day, even if you don't want to like go enroll in a course, or maybe you should, because someone I know has some incredible classes coming up. But anyway, I digress. You don't have to enroll in anything official. You can devote yourself to something more self-guided. Dust off those books that you've been meaning to read. Start practicing a craft that you've let fall away. Or maybe it is an invitation to recognize the things that you yourself have to share, you yourself have to teach, you yourself have to give, and allow yourself to recognize yourself, LOL, yourself, as the leader, as the teacher that you are. And it can be both. Recognize when it's time to lead and when it's time to follow. Recognize where you're putting your trust, in who you're putting your trust, and why. In what you're putting your trust in. Why do you follow the rules and the traditions that you do? Why do you follow the people that you do? What have you actually looked into around them and their practices? And are they actually who you want to be giving your time and attention and maybe money to? Once you feel solid and set in those things, the Two of Pentacles, the Sun, then you can really get to work and really start to see the change and the elevation that you wish to see. The summer solstice is a really great time to focus on the things that light you up. It's the longest day in the northern hemisphere or the longest night in the southern, which both can kind of bring this manifestation energy. If you're in the northern hemisphere, spend the day dedicated to doing things that you love, that you want to fire up, that you want to illuminate and give energy to. If you're in the southern hemisphere, as soon as it gets dark, there's an opportunity to explore the subconscious, to practice divination, to intentionally journal, to dream, and see what your subconscious has to say about the things that you want to create. And in the southern hemisphere, the days are only growing brighter from now on, right? So you could definitely do some sort of seed planting ritual or manifestation ritual where what you make at sunrise tonight or tonight on Friday, what you make at sunrise or sunset every day as the days get longer and longer, its intention grows, its power grows. Bottom of the deck is the Eight of Cups. Your emotional health, your ability to regulate and stabilize your emotional response, your emotional intelligence, knowing your feelings, knowing your responses, knowing how you process is the key to making sure that you can stay with all the things that you want to enact and all the things that you want to do. And there's also that piece of recognizing when you have grown past something and it needs to be moved aside or let go of or put away to make space for something more expansive, something more rewarding. Yeah, that's the reading. I really liked that. That sounds fun and promising, and I love to hear it. And yeah, cool. And I'm using a Marseille deck, so you might have heard some interpretations of cards that are different than what you might know, and that's cool and fine. And if you want to learn a little bit more about how I interpret specifically in the Marseille style, Tarot 101, baby, we'll be going over that. So, last plug for that. Let's go ahead and close our circle. Once again, you can join me in closing your eyes if it feels safe and good to do so. Once again, bring your hands to your heart and just take a moment to be with your breath. Take a moment to feel each element rolling within you. Take a big deep breath in. And as you exhale, release your feeling of those elements. I release the spirits and guardians of the west, the south, the east, and the north, sending you back to your place in the natural order with praise and with gratitude. I send the energy of all those listening back to them whole, complete, and intact. and I take my energy back to myself whole, complete, and intact. May we remain friends, though our energies are no longer crossed, corded, or tangled at all, starting now. Take a breath. Feel your energy settle into you, all yours. The circle is open, and so it is. All right, my friends. I hope you have an incredible week. I hope you have an incredible solstice, an incredible start to Cancer season, and I will see you next time.